Welcome into the latest edition of ESPN FC. I'm Dan Thomas, joined by Craig Burley, Stevie Nicol and Ali Moreno. Sid Lowe will be joining us shortly on the day that the Champions League group stage is returned. And we'll start with the defending champions, Liverpool, going away to Naples, and Napoli winning by 2-0. The goals coming late. Thoroughly entertaining game. Was it just a case Napoli taking their chances, Stevie?
Yeah, I think the penalty was the difference maker. What, 10 minutes to go. This time last year, Liverpool got completely outplayed by Napoli and actually looked aghast at the end of the game. This game was completely different. I thought Liverpool deserved something out of it, and we're unfortunate not to get something out of it. And they will go through. Listen, the other teams in the group, Salzburg and Ghent, are absolutely nowhere near Napoli and Liverpool. So, yes, it's a loss. They won't be happy, but I don't think it's too much to worry about. Salzburg, by the way, scored 6 goals today against Genk.
Well, yeah, Genk better get the crash helmet on for Napoli and Liverpool.
Penalty for you, Craig, quickly.
Yeah, because, you know, if you're a winger running down the wing and the full-back slides in and goes to ground, and you have to jump over him to avoid contact and then lose your balance, that's a free kick. So as frustrating as it is sometimes, not always, the contact doesn't always have to be made. He dangled his leg. It was a bad mistake from an excellent player. And then Van Dijk just, you know, made a bad mistake at the end, and that was it. But it was an excellent game, and as Stevie said, Liverpool and Napoli will probably both comfortably go through. I thought they played well. I thought the only problem for Liverpool...
Not based on this performance, and not based on the fact that you trust that Liverpool can certainly comfortably get out of this group, not because of them and because of Napoli, it's because who they're playing against. And when you see Salzburg play and you see Genk play, you say, well, yeah, no. And so you can make an argument and kind of frame it and say, well, there's maybe a reason to get concerned, and I don't think so. I do think that there are opportunities in which Liverpool could put games away and they don't. And this was a very good example of that, because those breaks that Craig was just talking about, if Son is able to complete what should be a simple pass to Mohamed Salah, now it's 1-0 Liverpool. Napoli has to go chase it. Maybe that opens up for another counter-attack, and Liverpool puts the game away, and see you guys later. So it's something that Liverpool did very well in the final stages of this same competition last year. But let's not forget that last year, in Champions League, in the group, there were times in which they struggled.
Yep.
And it worked out just fine.
Yeah, they lost all their away games.
Yeah, and so I'm assuming that Stevie Nicol would take that very same approach. He said, well, you know what? If that's a route we're going to take and that's what works for us, so be it. I do think, however, that Liverpool could and will improve from something like that.
You have to mention as well, though, 2 goals apart, that Napoli had the best chance of the game. That fell for, was it Mertens or...
Virgil van Dijk, and rightfully so, because he has been excellent. But today, most of the time, comfortable as we've grown accustomed to him being. And
from home and at Anfield, I don't see them getting anything. To me, they're a completely different animal away from home. But yes, a good side, and a side that will, again, easily get through this group.
And can I just highlight Fabian Ruiz as a young, up-and-coming, one of the best midfielders in Europe, and a guy that is not the prototypical Spanish midfielder. It's not just a guy that's just going to knock the ball around and pass and keep possession. No, has the physicality to go box to box, and also has the willingness to get into the attack, but also has the willingness to defend. He is one of the excellent young talent right now in Europe.
Meanwhile, it is official. Once again, the Premier League is rubbish. Chelsea losing at home at Valencia today. Valencia, let's not forget, so much turmoil off the pitch going into this clash, taking all 3 points from Stamford Bridge. The big talking point, a late penalty miss from Ross Barkley at the end, putting it over the bar. There was a great discussion. You had Tammy Abrahams, you had Jorginho, you had Willian and Ross Barkley pretty much all vying for this penalty.
So it was clear for the rest of the players and the manager who was taking it. So
but it wasn't clear from the players, clearly, because why are they all interjecting?
Well, that's what I'm saying. If they know that he's taking the penalties, why are they surrounding him saying, I'm taking it, other than you just want to be the big hero for the moment, when he's clearly, and Lampard has clarified it, he is the guy that takes penalties for the time being.
Or is this smokescreen from Lampard? Is this him covering himself? Coming out and saying that afterwards? Because surely if it was clear at the start, Ross Barkley's a penalty taker.
No, I don't think so. Ross Barkley had only just stepped on the field, and I think both Jorginho and Willian, being experienced guys, that's the first thing that would go through their head. Well, this guy's only just stepped on the field. Is he really ready to take a penalty kick? So I would assume that's why they're talking to him, and I would assume that's why Willian gave him a look. But Bartley's went, no, I'm good, I'm fine, I'm taking it. No. He just fluffed his lines by missing it, But I don't think it's a smokescreen whatsoever. I think it's a genuine thing that that an experienced professional would do when the guy taking the penalties has only just stepped on the field.
I got to tell you, I see it differently. I saw Willian hanging out with Ross Barkley and looking him up and down and go, you sure about this?
Yeah.
I don't know that he was supporting Ross Barkley. I am pretty certain that William is like, look, bro, it's my penalty. I'm going to take it. And Ross Barkley said, no, I got this. So, which paints a clear picture to me that it was not clear for the players that Ross Barkley is the guy to take the penalty. Because otherwise, 3 guys don't hang around Ross Barkley and making sure that he's ready to take it. If indeed it is clear for everybody who's the penalty taker, then nobody crowds that penalty taker. In any team that I've ever been a part of, whether it's club or whether it's national team, once a guy who's the penalty taker has the ball in his hands, people clear out. This whole idea of people just having a meeting around the penalty spot, that for me doesn't work. And it doesn't create an environment in which you feel all that comfortable about taking the penalty anyways.
I'll tell you what Frank's done. He's gotten rid of all this nonsense that happened with Pogba and Rashford.
Yeah.
Now, whether he's telling the truth or not, at the end of the day, if he's talking nonsense, he's used his brain so there's no controversy, and then all he does, he goes back in the dressing room and says, right, look, I've just cleared this up by telling him whatever. And then that's it.
Right.
So...
Is that why? Because I can imagine United fans
done the
sitting
right
at home
thing. He
going,
said the
hey, wait a minute, you were having a go at Rashford and you're having a go at Pogba when all this was going on, so why does Barkley get a pass?
Well, we were sitting ready to have a go and saying, well, this is a bit of a shambles again. And then just before we came on air, we saw a little clip of Lampard who cleared it up in his mind and to publicly. Now, either we sit here and call him a liar or we accept his explanation. And as Stevie said, you know, if he goes in a press conference, which he will, he's going to give exactly the same answer to the journalist. Now, unless one of them stands up and says, you're a liar,
right.
What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Because he cleared that up, but as Stevie said, you go in the dressing room and say, listen, I don't want any differing messages to the press when you're spoken to. Here's the answer I've gave, and this is what you should do. Anyway, it's not a huge deal.
Dan, I've done it. I've done it at the Revs. It's exactly what I did. I told them one thing
you said you had the brains. How did you manage it? Did Mariner put it in your head?
No, you were doing well till you threw that.
So you lied?
Sorry.
Absolutely. I told them what they had to hear.
Right.
And then when I got back in the dressing room, well, actually, it wasn't the dressing room. It was the Monday morning. I said, right, by the way, see all that stuff I told that you read, that I said?
Yeah.
Forget that. This is exactly this is what I want, and this is why I said it, and this is what has to happen in the future.
There's no question in my mind.
Yeah, fair enough.
There's no question in my mind that there's Captain Deflecto going on here. Or him taking it all upon himself and say, come here, I'll take that pressure, but we'll clear this up once we close these doors.
I didn't realise you were such a deep thinker. You're like, hey,
just out of interest, coming off the bench, would you have been comfortable taking that penalty in that situation?
He was only off the bench at 80 minutes, so it was quite a late substitution, and it wasn't Sarri in charge, and it was Barkley for Kovacic again. It's just down to a player. I would say no.
You wouldn't have taken it?
No, sorry, would I have taken it? I would have taken it. Right. I would say, I think people that are into the full flow of the game are in a better position to take the penalty than somebody who's just off the bench trying to get into the game.
As we mentioned, Sid Lowe with us. Sid, let's not go into too much detail about what's been going on at Valencia off the pitch, because we could be here a while. But just in a nutshell, how big a surprise and how big a result is this for La Liga's side?
It's absolutely huge. There's no two ways about it.
It begs the question, doesn't it?
Well, you know,
can Chelsea still... Well, obviously, that's stupid. Chelsea can still get through.
Did you just catch yourself?
Yeah, but...
Okay.
No, but
are Ajax and Valencia now favourites to get through?
No, I don't think so. In a season where, because of the problems that Sid mentioned and the fact that, you know, Chelsea are going to be up and down this season, there's not a doubt about it. There's an iffy performance, then there's a big performance at Wolves. They weren't bad in this game, but they got beat. But the lack of signings is going to be a problem for them long term, but they have got Hudson-Odoi coming back. He's getting back to fitness. Obviously, the home games, stating the obvious, are going to be hugely important. It's much more difficult travelling to Spain and Valencia than it is playing them on your own backyard. But I still think that group... I think if Chelsea had been in a tougher group with the problems they had, it would have been really difficult. I think this is a good group for them.
They can absolutely go to Valencia and go to Lille and win. You would expect them to win at home against Lille, but the fact that they can do that means that they can still comfortably get through.
Not necessarily.
Well, but see, they can.
Are you telling me that there's no way Chelsea goes to Valencia and goes to Lille and wins?
They just lost at home to them.
Okay, they just lost at home, so what? It's one game. They've lost the game.
Valencia are in a massive mess at the moment.
That's not what I asked you. I didn't ask you that. I didn't ask you how big a mess Valencia was in. I asked you, are you telling me Chelsea can't go to Valencia and go to Lille and win? That's what I said.
Well, of course, it's in the realms of possibility.
Oh, I don't start.
Stevie, but it is within the realm of possibility that Chelsea goes to Lille and loses as well. Because this is what the inconsistency of this team that we were just talking about.
Look at the two other teams that I'm talking about. I think Ajax are slightly different than the other two, but Valencia and Lille. I mean, you really don't know. Sid's been talking all
But you don't know
season.
Chelsea either.
But exactly.
Well, exactly.
So it's open. It's about as open as it possibly could get.
I know.
And he's pulling faces because I suggest.
But
my
Valencia.
God, I've suggested that Chelsea can go to Valencia and Lille and win. Oh my God! How daft are you?
You were just so nonchalant about it.
Okay, because of course they can.
Okay.
We're talking here that we're shocked they've lost this game, right?
But they lost it.
Well, they dominated possession, missed a penalty.
We're surprised, right?
Of course.
Right, so how does that all of a sudden, because they lose one game, all of a sudden, oh no.
But in a group that is open, I understand what you're saying, Steve.
Yeah,
in a group that is open, you've already given Valencia 3 points that they were not expecting under the circumstances in which they came into this game.
Absolutely.
So there was an opportunity here for Chelsea to take a jump start. Now you're playing catch-up, knowing that you're inconsistent, regardless of where you play.
Looking at the groups out there, though, if you're going to have to, chase from behind, as a group that you could do that with Ajax selling the best players, with the problems that Valencia have. Lille are a decent enough side, but they haven't got the players Chelsea have got. So they give them, it is an open group, and they're just giving themselves a bit more of a mountain to climb. But had they been in a tough group, real tough group, with the problems they've had over the summer, I don't think they'd have got out.
A lot more of this nonsense over on YouTube. You can check out. It finished Barça 0, Borussia Dortmund 0. Dortmund with the best chance from the penalty spot, though Ter Stegen making a great save from Royce on the follow-up as well, meaning the spoils shared there. Meanwhile, it was a draw between Inter and Slavia Prague. We'll talk about that a little later on.
Why can't we just put Slavia Prague up?
What do you mean? I don't know.
Weird that, isn't it?
Yeah. Anyway, all right. Sid's here.
I digress.
Sid, let's talk about Dortmund-Barcelona. Fair result?
I think probably Dortmund will feel that they should have got more result. Their away form is awful. I think it's only 4 wins in 14 now in the Champions League. And Dortmund will feel that they've had a really big missed opportunity.
Yeah, that's how Dortmund will feel when there's 2 points dropped.
If you're Marco Reus tonight, you have a difficult time sleeping. And never mind the penalty kick. You miss that, all right, fine. You can live with it. But you could have had a hat-trick. And we're not talking about right there, higher up the field, because the team got stretched and because people started looking for Messi rather than playing the game the way that they were in the first half, where the game was a little bit more even. Second half was all Dortmund, and Dortmund should have, and I'll tell you, must have won this game had it not been for Ter Stegen and had it not been for the missed opportunity by Borussia Dortmund.
Meanwhile, as we mentioned, it was 1-1 between Inter and Slavia Prague. This is what Antonio Conte had to say after the draw. I refuse to talk about individuals because we were all below par today, starting from me. I'm the first onto the naughty step, the main dunce. I generally hate the long ball and run routine, as this is not our football, but that's what we largely did today. It wasn't the plan. Gavi's the main dunce.
Well, look, this is a horrible performance, and he's owning it.
Will get better, or they'll be out. But they will get better. When they go to Dortmund and Barcelona, they're not going to try and play that expansive game that Conte talked about. They're going to play a much different game. But at home, you're certainly looking for more. I agree with the boys. The way Barcelona are at the moment, and particularly without Messi, and particularly their away form, and how tight this group is going to be, that is a missed opportunity for Dortmund that might come back. It's not a disastrous result. Of course it's not. Drawing with Barcelona anytime is not a disaster. But it's going to be so tight, that home form and picking up points at the right time is going to be important. But it still looks to me as if it's Dortmund and Barca favourites, but Inter, if they improve, are going to give themselves a right chance.
Stevie, you take a look at it, and obviously it's 1 point apiece to everyone at the moment.
Yeah.
Inter have had the worst day, surely.
Shocking result. They actually could have won it. Lukaku's missed a header from 4 yards. Hit it straight at the goalkeeper, which would have obviously gotten 3 points. But then you would just put this aside. For Barça, considering how bad they've been in the Champions League away, this is a fantastic result. They look completely uncomfortable for most of the game. But to get back to Conte, when your team plays like that, you've got two choices. You either slam the players or you give it the old, oh, this is on me one.
Hey, the brains are back.
Yeah, exactly.
The brains are back.
And so it's early in the season and he's not slamming the players and he's giving it the old, this one's on me.
And is that what you used to
And then, by the
Stephen?
way, he contradicts himself by saying that's not how we told him to play.
Right.
So how's it on him?
Oh, you should have been in that press conference,
Well,
Stevie.
exactly. How can you say that? If you tell the team to go and play one way and they don't do it,
Yeah.
how's it on you?
You're very angry.
It's the old classic.
Here's what I'll say, and Greg mentioned home form being important. Well, this was at home for Inter, and so this means when you're putting together a budget of points at the beginning of Champions League, if you're Inter, you're thinking, okay, 3 points at home against Slavia Prague, and that way we don't have to go and chase things around. Well, now you have to go chase points somewhere else that you did not expect. It's still going to come down to Inter and Dortmund and those games. And those two games will decide which team goes through. I think Barcelona, even though they have issues, they'll be too good for everybody else. And then it's Inter or Dortmund. I picked Dortmund simply because I trust this team more than I do Inter.
Last word on this group with you, Gab.
Yeah, I mean, I generally agree with what the guy said. I mean, I suspect Conte, knowing him a little bit in the dressing room, is going to turn around and said, look, I took all the flack. This is another coach's favorite. I took all the flack for you guys. I said I was the dunce and the naughty step, so I'm protecting you guys. Don't let me down again, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, the reality is that there's still a lot of work to be done here. And the one thing that's going to drive Conte, is going to make him really angry, is he took it very personally when people in the build-up to this game brought up his poor record in Europe, and he said, well, you know, I played in Europe, was it like 4 times or something, and every time it was with a team that, you know, was very much a newborn, lacked the experience, was rebuilding, blah, blah, blah. So he really doesn't want to have to use that as an excuse once again if Inter come up short.
Meanwhile, let's just check out the other group today. In Group G, it was 1-1 between Lyon and Zenit. Meanwhile, big win for Leipzig. Beating Benfica 2-1 away from home. More Champions League action for you tomorrow. 2 big games. Just reminding you what they are. We'll be discussing them on the next edition of the show. In Group A, of course, it's all about that game at Parc des Princes, PSG taking on Real Madrid. And then in Group D, meanwhile, and to Gab.
Still having a beer, though.
Oh, yeah, I bet. We'll be back tomorrow with more of this. Till then, goodbye.